Welcome to Nitpicking Nerds, and today is a tier list kind of day.
We're doing the board wipes of Commander.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, BZ, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. We have Commander content for you every single day, which means enough for everyone's birthday. So happy birthday to all you birthday boys and girls out there. We have a Patreon. You can support us and our birthday adventures in the description if you click that link.
More realistically, you can support our Magic the Gathering daily content, but also birthday adventures. If you want to support us in another way, you can go to tcgplayer.com using the affiliate link in the description below. Click on that link, go to the website, buy whatever Magic cards you wanted to buy, and guess what? You're supporting the nerds with spending not a single extra dollar. And if you want awesome sleeves, you can also support us by using our affiliate link for dragonshield.com. Literally the best sleeves in the multiverse.
Good sleeves.
And we suggest you go to that website using our affiliate links and buy those sleeves. We use them on every single one of our decks, and we suggest you do the same. So what are we doing today, BZ?
Well, we're going to have to shrink down to microscopic size really soon because we're going to go 26 board wipes in Commander. We're doing a tier list, and we're going to place them all accordingly from S tier, best of the best, to poop tier, worst of the worst. They're all going to be, for this video, they're all going to be creature board wipes. Things that can take out creatures at least. We're not doing like the Vandal Blast and the Bane of Progress. It just gets a little muddy of what counts as a board wipe. So it's all creature board wipes this time.
26 of the most played board wipes in the whole entire format. So we're just going to rank them. And remember, we're comparing them against other board wipes. Something I want to say about board wipes is you should probably have one or two in almost any Commander deck. So if you only have access to some of these ones that we're going to maybe give poop, you should play it because you want to have a board wipe in your deck. All right, but now we got to get really tiny so that we can do the tier list, because where are we going to put a tier list? There's nowhere in this room to keep a tier list. So we got to do some magic with editing. Let's do it.
Now that we're here with the signature Nitpicking Nerds computer and signature Amber, we can go to the first one, which is All is Dust.
All is Dust is a really interesting one. It's 7 mana. It's a bit overcosted for a board wipe, but it does make everybody sacrifice all of their colored permanents. It's pretty strong. Wow, what do you think of it, BZ?
Well, if you're an artifact deck or you're some, like Eldrazi is such a niche thing, I don't really count that as much as more practically this goes in like an artifact deck where most of your stuff is like tokens or you've got a lot of colorless matters things. That's where I think this starts to shine. Because if this isn't one-sided, why aren't you just playing something else? Why aren't you playing like something that destroys all just online permanents? Just destroy them.
Yeah, 7 mana is a large cost. We're just getting into this, but 7 is a large cost. And we're going to get to all these ones that are way, way lower. So like you said, it's got to be a one-sided board wipe. You don't want to be destroying your things. I think it's about a B. I think it's a strong board wipe, but the cost keeps it down from being one of those top-tier board wipes that you're going to be looking to put in a lot of different decks.
When I say best board wipes in Commander, you're probably not thinking of All is Dust. Austere Command, on the other hand, is a pretty spicy one. You get to choose from 2 out of 4 options of destroy all creatures mana cost 3 or less, 4 or greater, destroy all artifacts, or destroy all enchantments. So you can really mix and match this. Super easy to make it virtually one-sided so that most of your creatures survive or their blockers go away, or that all creatures survive and you just wipe all their enchantments and artifacts.
Yeah, I am coming down of Austere Command. It's a card I just don't feel like I want to put in decks anymore. Now, there was a time, a time just before Kamigawa even, where I was like, there is decks for this, and now I'm just a little lower, like, there's less decks for this now. Because of a card that's coming up in this list later, there's less cards for this deck. I think this is either, low B or high C for me.
This is definitely a B. This card is way better than All is Dust, but it's not like you have to include it in your white decks, but it's 100% better than All is Dust.
See, that might be fair.
I guess we'll get to the next one when it comes out 10 from now. I am really confused on why you don't see them as virtually the same card.
Well,
they're very close.
Okay, yeah, we can just get to that when we get to it.
How about Blasphemous Act?
Blasphemous Act, well, this one is one of the best board wipes in the entire format. It always is costing 1 mana. I mean, sometimes it costs 2, sometimes it costs 3, but it's almost always one of the cheapest board wipes in the whole format. It wipes out almost everything off the board for creatures. Easy S because it is a 1 mana board wipe, and that is just unheard of.
The best part is, if you're the deck that can go pretty big, you can just have an X14, and this doesn't even die to Blasphemous Act, and it makes all your creatures unblockable too.
Yeah, my Helana Elena deck can easily get a creature with 14 toughness, and when you do that, Now this board wipe is not only just a 1-mana board wipe, it's a 1-mana board wipe that doesn't clear out some of your creatures.
Right, 1-mana board wipe, and then someone takes 28 damage. It's like, right, I guess I'll play that magic card.
Yeah.
if I have to.
The card is just, it's continued from, ever since it was printed, what was it, original Innistrad, it's just been a house in Commander.
Yeah, we got buy invitation only next. This is kind of your tokens board wipe, because you choose a number from 0 to 13, and everybody sacrifices that many creatures. Kind of weird. It almost sounds like a black card, but as long as you have the most creatures, this will be very good for you because you get to keep your best X creatures, where X is the number of creatures you control more than everybody else.
So this is a niche one, I think. I like that it makes them sacrifice. That's an upside. Like,
it's around indestructible, hexproof, all that stuff.
It does, and that's. I mean, normal borders get around hexproof.
Most of them.
Yeah, but I like that it makes them sacrifice. I think because it kills indestructible and it's going to kill some threats that you couldn't normally kill with it. I think it's niche. If you're not reliably going to get over 13 creatures on the board, I think this starts getting very medium. Now, it's still a good card. I think it's a C, where I'm not like super excited to play it, but there are definitely lists that do want this card.
I mean, that number is closer to like, you need like 10 creatures because you're not going to make them sacrifice 13.
That's true.
They're going to sacrifice like 7.
Okay, so you need to reliably probably have like 7, 8 creatures out. And that is a doable thing. Don't get me wrong. But because it's so niche, that's why I think it's a C. I think it only goes in those specific type of decks.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say D. So as far as board wipes go, C's fine too. Chain Reaction, this is one of several board wipes that kind of just all end up reading the same. It's 4 mana, and you deal X to every creature, where X is the number of creatures in play. That's just going to scale ridiculously huge, and it basically just says 2 red, destroy all creatures.
Yeah, so it's a 4-mana board wipe. This is the standard for a board wipe. We'll get to some in a little bit.
With no frills, yeah, it's a standard.
No frill. This is the standard. This is what you should expect from your board wipe when you start. It's like the base is 4 mana, all creatures are gone. That's the base.
Usually, it's if you're adding a 5th or a 6th mana, it means there's potential to make it one-sided.
Yes, and there was something to make it better.
I'm thinking a low B for this one. It's not my go-to. 4 mana, no frills isn't really what I'm kind of aiming for.
Yeah, usually, unless I'm specifically red-green, and even then, I have a red-green deck, and this isn't in there. It's not something I reach too often, but it is a strong Magic card.
Yeah, so let's stick it right below All Is Dust, I guess. How about Chandra's Ignition? What does that do?
Chandra's Ignition targets one of your creatures, so it is extremely dangerous.
Yikers.
But it deals damage to all other creatures and opponents equal to that creature's power. Now, this is an extremely risky one, but I am extremely high on this card because not only is it a board wipe when you need it to be a board wipe, it is often a win condition, and it is tough for your board wipe to double as a win condition. Now, again, the risk is real. You absolutely are taking a 2-for-1 risk when you play this card, but I think it's good enough that it is worth playing for sure.
Especially if you got some of these free spells running around, like Deadly Relic and Snuff Out make this never safe. You never would ever know if the shields are down because there's no mana indication of that. I would probably give this like a C. Certain decks can just absolutely smash you with this, and I've lost this card, but it is very niche and very risky. Even when you meet the nicheness.
I think the risk is real, but I don't think the niche is that small. I think this is a good card. I would give this a B. I've been playing it in my Helana Lane deck, and it has been very strong. It's won me games. It's wiped the board. It's just been good.
I mean, I guess I could see that, like, when you build around it, it's better than All Is Dust. When you build around All Is Dust, it's like, oh, that's pretty great. When you build around Chandra's Ignition, it's like, I just won the game.
Yeah, you sometimes you just win with it. It's a board wipe that turns into a win con.
Yeah, here's the card I'm not super high on. It's Cleansing Nova. You can either destroy all creatures or destroy all artifacts and enchantments, and this is like the 3rd or 4th worst version of this now. I don't like the 5-mana board wipes that just end up being destroy all creatures. That's kind of what you want at the minimum. Artifacts and enchantments, if you're an enchantment deck or an artifact deck, you don't really want to do that, and then it's just a bad board wipe, and I think I'm going to give it like a D. What do you want to give it?
Yeah, I think D is about the right grade for this. This is I'm very low on this card as well. It's just not where I want to be for my board wipes. There's just so many better places to be. Yeah, sometimes the versatility will be nice, but overall, how often do you choose artifacts and enchantments? 1 out of like 10 times. Now I want to say, if you're in a meta where you're choosing like both sides 50-50, then this card's going to be good because that's where this card shines when both sides are super relevant. It just feels like one side is super relevant that you're going to use like 9 out of 10 times, then 1 out of 10 times it's going to be the other side.
And why would you ever want to do that when Austere Command is just every one of those choices, but it's a better card. You spend 1 more mana, and you never have to like feel bad about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, my thought is if this is split down the middle, which side you use, then I think that it is a good card in that case.
Right, but even then, that's what I'm saying. Like, why not just play Austere Command?
Well, because Austere Command is 1 more mana.
Okay, so you're saying if it's like the same, if it ends up being like the same card, which I guess would be really rare.
Yeah, exactly. It is, and it's definitely it's 100% meta thing. I mean, that's why we got it in D tier.
All right, it's a D. We had too much time on Cleansing Nova. It doesn't deserve it. How about Cyclonic Rift, if I didn't already know the answer was S tier?
Yeah, Cyclonic Rift is obviously stupidly strong. When we're talking about power, this is one of the most powerful board wipes in all of Commander that isn't the high competitive super EDH stuff. Do we need to tell you how good it is? It bounces everything.
Everything you don't control.
That you don't control except lands. And that is just bonkers at instant speed.
And it's just the fact that you also have a get out of jail free at 2 mana if you're really like going to get messed up by something or something needs to stay on the battlefield. It's like, well, I can just cast this as a different spell. I'll disperse something.
Yes.
Super sick.
Yeah,
how about Damnation?
Damnation's a good one. It is a 4-mana board wipe. Again, we're back to this, like, we're doing the same kind of thing. But this is a guaranteed destroy compared to, like, a chain reaction, which, chain reaction is a lot of the times equivalent to Damnation, but it's not always, and that's what brings like that down.
We should have mentioned that. If there's 3 creatures in play and one of them's insane, you're probably not killing it.
Exactly, and that is a weakness of chain reaction. I think this one's tough. I think I'm in B. I think it's better than Austere Command. I think these 4-mana like standard board wipes are on average better than Austere Command.
I think the color matters a lot. The fact that black decks get this and they don't get all. There's like a million white board wipes, so maybe the other we'll have to look at Wrath of God or something. But I don't know if I'm not playing Wrath of God as much as Damnation because of the color switch. Like if you made this blue, well, that card's insane because blue doesn't do that.
Yeah, exactly. You get a lot more from switching it up. Next, we have Dam, which is, well, similar to Damnation. This one costs black to destroy a creature, or you overload it, which means destroy all creatures for 2 white. It's very specific to decks because you have to be playing Orzhov in your color combination. I think it's an easy A. I don't think it's the busted S tier, like best ones that we've ever seen, like those ones, but it is very good. And like I said, the standard of 4-mana wipe is here, but it's versatile. So this is obviously going to be a very strong, removal / board wipe.
I have the best board state. All right, I'll just kill the best threat and smash in. Oh, I don't have the best board state. I'll just kill everything. You got to be more Orzhov, but the power is absolutely there. It's definitely a step above Damnation.
Yeah,
for sure. If you're black-white, you do not need Damnation ever.
Yeah, exactly. The black-white is what's... The only thing holding this card back is probably the fact that you need to be in 2 eyes. If this was like black and then Overlord for 2 black, that card's insane.
That's one of the better board wipes just because, it just goes everywhere. How about Azuri's Predation? It's the green board Damnation. It's 8 mana, and you make a 4/4 for every creature you don't control, and then each 4/4 fights one of them.
I think this card is super cool, and I really like it. But it's not insane. But when it's so splashy. It's
a fun card to resolve.
Exactly. And I think it just fits in kind of like the category of the C with like by invitation only, where it's like, it's this okay card. It's not bad, and it does do a lot. But it's 8 mana.
Right.
It's 8 mana, and you only destroy things with toughness 4 or less, and a lot of the beasts die in the combat, and it's not bad.
Well, the fact that a lot of the beasts die is actually the sick part, because all of the beasts don't die. So it's a board wipe that just gives you like 16 power.
Yeah, I mean, this card is definitely good, and it is one-sided, so it's not fighting your
nothing
creatures.
You have is at risk, except for the beasts that you didn't have existing 1 second ago.
Yeah, the reason this makes it up to C is actually that it's mono green, because in any other color, this is probably not making it much higher than, like, D.
Right, but for green, it's pretty good. Pretty good, because they don't have anything, they don't have nothing. They have All's Dust. Farewell is the card Jerry's was comparing Austere Command to. You either exile all creatures, artifacts, enchantments, or graveyards, but guess what? You can choose any number of those.
Yeah, I think that this card is head and shoulders better than Austere Command.
I think it's really close.
I don't even think I don't think it is close. I think the exile is completely bonkers.
Exile's great.
And on top of this, you can hit artifacts when you need to, or enchantments when you need to, just kind of like Austere Command. It does all the things Austere Command does, except for the little small creature thing.
Well, you can't wipe away tokens for your giant guys, and you can't wipe away giant guys for your tokens.
Yeah, and I just don't think that that's relevant enough. Almost ever. And the fact that this exile is, we already know exile is so much stronger.
The graveyards thing is nice too, because even if they sack all their creatures in response, it's gone. I mean, I'm saying the jury's still out for me on whether Farewell's better than Austere Command. I need to test them more. Are we fine just moving it like right here?
Oh, I think it's an A easy.
Oh god. Let's give it bottom of A. Tentatively. I think it could be that good easily, but I need to see it.
I think the exile is so good. I've been in my head, I keep going, I want to play this card. all my decks are permanent based. That's why I haven't had this card in a deck yet. I'm so based on like getting on board. I have 4 decks, just built a 5th, and they're all on board decks. So this card just isn't good in those decks.
But the actual reason is you just don't play white.
That's also true. I don't have that many white decks.
You have what? 1 white deck and it's 4 colors?
That's true.
Joe does not play white.
Yeah, I mean, not
it's up to
intentionally.
me to test it.
Yeah, not intentionally.
All right, Fumigate. It's another white board wipe, but it's 5 mana, and all you get is to destroy all creatures. But the little bonus is that you gain 1 life for each creature that's destroyed. In a life gain deck, this is the only time I think this should ever appear, or in some hyper budget deck, but we're not talking about budget. So I just want to give this like D or poop. Something's got to be poop, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it's this. Honestly, I think it's this D.
Just low D.
It's a low D, yeah. I think that you should play this as often as you play Cleansing Nova. In very rare niche situations, even life gain decks don't necessarily want this card because it's not that good of a board wipe, honestly.
For me, D and below are the cards I just don't play. Like, there's probably, there's a bunch of board wipes in there that maybe aren't in this video because we picked the most popular ones. But there's a bunch of board wipes I'm not playing. It doesn't mean that a board wipe is bad. It just means that I have so many better options. We're comparing them against board wipes.
Well, yeah, we're comparing them against each other. And when you pit things head to head, even a card like Cleansing Nova, that's always going to perform well. That card will perform great for you 95% of the time. It's going to get a D because it's fighting against Blasphemous Act, Farewell, Austere Command.
If End Hostilities was on here, that would get a poop tier.
Yep.
That doesn't do anything. That card stinks.
Even though it's going to perform as well as some of these other ones, 95% of the time.
All right, Meat Hook Massacre. This is the most overpriced card I've ever seen in my life, and I hope it's because of Standard. But when we've recently powered down our decks a little bit and going slower and kind of like less infinite combo-y, this card has overperformed every single time. It's just pretty good.
I mean, I think that we got a little low on it because we're like, why? This is not a $45 card. Absolutely not. It is a okay board wipe. It is an okay stacks piece. And combining that,
you mean Aristocrat?
Aristocrats piece. And when you combine them, it makes for a good card, almost a great card. I would even say this is a great card. But it's so overpriced. It makes me go, I don't want to buy that. I don't want to spend $45 on Meat Hook Massacre.
Yeah, price also doesn't really factor into this.
Yeah,
but it is just an annoying thing that we're talking about. I don't really want to give this higher than a B. I think this card's good. But as soon as like this is good in like the pre-con battles and like our commander cube type power level, where as soon as you're going up against decks that hit a certain point, this card just like doesn't do much.
It's about I think this card doesn't do much when combos are prevalent.
Well, I think it translates more poorly than most of these board wipes into like I have more higher power things because they're always going to do their thing. But as a board wipe, this is not reliable. This is going to be like 5 mana -3/-3. That's not a board wipe. That's like clearing out the chaff and the tokens.
Yeah, and that's completely fair. So I think that this card is totally fine. I think it's low B. I don't think it's above
Chain Reaction.
Chain Reaction. It might be even better than
All Is Dust.
They're like close.
Probably.
Yeah, but like I think that is right where it fits because it feels like a Chandra's Ignition type card where it's like when your deck is built to take advantage of it, it's insanely good, but your deck needs to be built to take advantage of it.
Yeah, if you're not the deck that can make people lose 10 life on a great turn with Meat Hook Massacre out, or maybe if you never want to play it just as black, it's probably in the wrong deck.
Yeah, that's a great point. If you don't want the Aristocrats piece, then you don't want the card.
Oh, yeah. Merciless Eviction. Oh, you know what? This might be the poop tier one. This is the one that we're so low on. It's Farewell, but it's the Bizarro version where everything is bad for you. So you choose exile artifacts, creatures, enchantments, or planeswalkers, but you don't get to choose anything else. You pick one of those things, and that means, just like Cleansing Nova, most of the time it's going to be creatures, and the exile is nice, but you're paying an extra whole mana for this.
But I don't want to play 6 mana for only a board wipe on creatures. Exile is nice. I'm not going to deny it. But like this is like I feel like if this was ever in D tier in the past, Farewell was the nail in the coffin that said poop tier because there is no reason to play this card at all. It's 2 colors. This is the one I avoid the most. Like like I said, this is what I was referencing kind of in the beginning of the video. If you don't have any other board wipes, this is totally reasonable and passable, and it will get the job done a lot of the time. But when you have some of these other board wipes, I'm not even coming close to touching it.
In this case, basically any of them. I mean, I think it's weird to say that because none of these cards are as comparable as Farewell in this one. Farewell is like literally strictly better than this card.
Yeah, it really.
Don't even go near this thing anymore. Mythos of Snapdax is a Mardu board wipe, but it's a Tragic Arrogance effect. So if you pay black, red, white for this, it's 4 mana, and you get to choose the best permanent type that's non-land of everybody, and then everything else goes away.
All right, this is
not the best. You get to choose whatever you want.
Yes, this card is extremely good. The thing that keeps it down from being like the very best is it's a lot of pips, and it only goes in decks that within their color identity have Mardu, which is 3 of the 5 colors in all of Magic.
Very rarely. I mean, I don't know how much we want to say that pips factor into this. I feel like this is probably like middle of B.
I mean, the pips factor in, especially for a factor of like how good is your mana. Like if we're in a deck like ours, they don't factor in at all. I would say the pips don't matter at all. But not everyone has as good a mana basis as we do, and sometimes they're going to struggle actually paying for those pips. I think this is top of A.
Top of A.
I think it's.
Oh, okay. I was like kind of lowballing a little bit. I didn't want to.
No,
I didn't want to like. I thought maybe you thought it was a C, and I was like, are we in B? But
no,
okay,
not at all.
A is cool.
I think this card's very, very,
Yeah, this
very
card's
good. I'm just saying that there are downsides. I was actually, in my head, you're thinking I was fighting to go to C from B. I was doing S to A. I was fighting it against S. Like, why isn't this an S tier board wipe?
I thought you were saying that the pips were keeping it down.
Oh, I mean, the pips were keeping it down from an S.
Okay, from an S to an A. And if you've resolved this card, it's amazing, and there's a very similar version we're going to be talking about. Next is Rolling Earthquake. You can just lump Earthquake and all that other stuff with it. It hits every creature for X in a red. They all take X damage, and then each player also takes X damage. Yikes.
I do want to say I think these cards are better than the amount they get played. Because they do not get played at all. And I think specifically Rolling Earthquake, the best of this Earthquake effect is really good, actually. And now, am I going to say it's bonkers, broken, and you should play it everywhere? No. You need to be able to generate... I like pairing it with green, where you're going to be able to generate lots of mana and really play this. You can use it, and it can double as ending the game if you're at the highest life total. Is it broken? No. I think it's like top of C, bottom of B. It's not insane. But I think these are better than they get looked at. Because I feel like nobody looks the way of the Rolling Earthquake.
Of the Earthquakes.
But
they always save it for like a meme deck.
I think, like, honestly, something that's interesting is generically, if we go into a vacuum, that is where Chain Reaction is better. But we don't live in the vacuum, and I think once you find actual decks, I'm going to play Rolling Earthquake more often than I'm going to play Chain Reaction.
Okay, I can get behind that. I haven't really tested them enough, but I know they're not, obviously they're not like Damnation level, but they kind of, once you hit the mark, it can also draw the game, which is really weird. Let's go to Ruinous Ultimatum, which is another Mardu board wipe, except this is just like Cyclonic Rift plus Planar Cleansing equals destroy all non-land permanents you don't control.
Sorcery, and again, the weakness, just much like what we just talked about, is pips being in 3 colors.
But way more so, because it's 7 pips.
It is
specific.
It is 7 pips, but the payoff is incredible for this point. It's not like you get a card that already exists. No, you don't. You get an effect that is nowhere else in Magic.
Yeah, I've resolved this quite a few times, and it feels fantastic, and I feel like everyone else at the table is like, uh-oh, when it sticks.
I mean, when it happens, when somebody casts this card, they keep everything, and everything is lost. I mean, obviously, that's what the card does. You read it that way, but like, when it feels hopeless, even though you can rebuild and come back from it. BZ's cast a lot, and he hasn't always won when he's casted, because obviously players can rebuild, but it feels hopeless. You feel like you can't come back.
He's got like 7 things. I don't have any. He's gonna attack everybody this turn. It is brutal. So what do you want to give this?
I think I'm at like B, definitely around the B, maybe above Austere Command.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think the 7 pips makes it so sometimes you're going to cast this on turn 8 and not turn 7, if that's when you would have been able to cast it. So the pips can hurt a little bit.
I think something to
but mana is so perfect these days.
It is. Mana is very good. I think something to consider about this is you can play it in less decks, but if this is 7 generic mana, this is an S tier. I mean, it's an insane card. So the pips and color identity are the thing keeping this from being that good.
Yeah, now next I want to kind of lump in 2 cards together. Spectral Deluge is the first one. It bounces all creatures your opponents control with toughness less than or equal to the number of islands you have to their owner's hands. And then I think that Engulf the Shore is very similar. But it's a 4-mana instant version, but it hits your things too.
Yeah, the reason I like this card, and I put this one on over Engulf the Shore, is because I think it's the better one.
I think it's better. It has Foretell.
Yeah, it has Foretell. It is 6 mana. It is more expensive, and it's a sorcery. But I think all of that still adds up to a better card than Engulf the Shore. It's all about your island count. Obviously, this is a mono blue,
heavy blue,
mono blue card. But the fact that it doesn't hit your creatures, this card is great. I've played it a couple times now, and it felt so strong every time I've resolved it.
Do you think we should speculate on Spectral Deluge and Engulf the Shore for when the blue Yavimaya comes out?
Oh my god, yeah. If there was a blue Yavimaya, it pumps these cards. It makes these cards so much better.
Yeah, I think this is really sweet. It's very similar to a Rift when you get to play it, except you just get to go, I'm the island deck, so I basically have 3 Cyclonic Rifts now. Deal with it.
Yeah, I think we're back, but I think we're in C or
yeah,
bottom.
for sure.
Like, I don't think this is one.
No, it's better than Azuri's Predation, maybe better than By Invitation Only. You know what? We'll put it top of C.
Sure.
Congratulations, Deluge. you're in top of C.
Yeah, like I think that's totally reasonable. This card is good, but it's not a card you have to go to often.
Right. Now this next one, I would like to submit my entry for most overrated board wipe of all time, Supreme Verdict. It's 4 mana, white, blue, 1. Destroy all creatures, can't be countered.
Why is it overrated?
Because it's just Wrath of God in disguise. I mean, I get that it's, in Azorius deck, it's better than Wrath of God, but there's so many other board wipes that are also better than Wrath of God and better than this. The can't be countered, it does not come up every time. I don't know how many times it comes up, but I feel like when spells say that they can't be countered, people suddenly think that every other spell is like so much worse because they can be countered. It's like, well, yeah, but that's how often does that happen? It's it's just like Wrath of God can be countered. It's like, yeah, everything dies to removal. Yeah. I mean, this thing can be bounced to your hand on the stack. I don't know if a spell said it couldn't.
Even if it's overrated, it's still a good card.
It's a fine. No, it's. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's about as good as Wrath of God in the decks that want it. It's better probably, but still so overrated.
Yeah, I'm on like it's about as good as Damnation and Wrath of God. They're like all of this like 4 mana. They're close enough to say. I think that because this one's in blue-white where you have a lot more board wipes because white has the most board wipes. Damnation's obviously better, but it's not that much better.
Yeah, all right. So let's put it there and calm down about the can't be countered text, because even if this thing could be countered, do you think that would keep it at B? Like if this was just the same card. If it was just blue-white Wrath of God, I guess it'd
be C. It would definitely be a C. I do think the counter gives it the grade boost that keeps it from being this just like, why does this have more pips for no reason? At least the pip does something. The pip is important because it
gives you something.
Yeah, exactly. If the pip if it was just, oh, this is just blue, white Wrath of God, I'm out.
This isn't a card I go to because I'd rather try to make a one-sided thing happen.
That's completely fair.
Like I definitely go to Farewell over this. But let's go to Time Wipe. Oh, it's another blue-white board wipe. It's 1 more mana than that. But you get to bounce a creature first that you have and then destroy everything else. So I definitely like this card better than Supreme Verdict because you always have one creature that you want to bounce. Your commander is probably in play, and you probably want it to be in play after the board wipe.
So I think the 1 mana, I've come down on this card.
Not a fan?
Yeah, I tried it in my Amanatu deck, and it just never was relevant. The bouncing was, you have to have the 5 mana and then a follow-up to make the bouncing kind of feel worth it.
Well, kind of. You just don't put a creature in the graveyard. Like, it's not dead. You get to have a second bite at it. And it has an ETB. Maybe this is just like a C. Maybe it is a little step down.
I was more like on a D. I'm pretty low on this card. I gave it a try. I was on like the page of like, this card looks good. It probably plays great. I think that the bounce is almost nothing. Honestly, it's very low to me. But I'm fine with a low C.
We'll give it a low C. We'll give it a low C for Time Wipe. Maybe the BZ tier list would switch those two. But we can move on to Toxic Deluge, which is just, what a text box. 2 and a black, sorcery. You pay X life when you cast it. Everything gets -X. Gets around indestructible. Always costs 3 mana, which is below the average for hitting all creatures. If you have the biggest creatures, they always survive because you will always pay less than their life and kill everything else. This card is nuts.
I mean, yeah, Toxic Deluge is just probably, I think, the best board wipe in the format.
I would say that.
I'm high in it. It goes in all my black decks.
It's putting like the first card you add.
Yeah, I'm putting it in my creature-based decks. There's no reason not to play this card. It is you get around indestructible. You get around all of this other stuff.
Gets around hexproof.
And now the weakness of the card is obviously you have to pay life. Just make sure that either your deck has a little bit of life gain, or you don't care, and this is like the only one of the ways you lose life.
Yeah, this card is nuts. I don't think we need to spend too much time on it. It's just obviously insane. Tragic Arrogance, also insane. Still, I think for me, it's still the second best board wipe, unless I'm forgetting something. But it's the same text as Mythos, but it's only white, and you're going to pay 5 for it, but only 2 white pips instead of the 4 specific pips, and you choose whatever you want of each type, and everybody sacrifices the rest. So you keep all your best stuff, and they lose all of their best stuff.
So,
most likely.
I'm looking at this list right now, and I'm thinking, if we're talking about not whiteboard wipes, it might be worse than all the S tier ones I'm seeing.
Yeah, well, I think it's in the, it's kind of in the S tier in my head, but if we're comparing them all, I think it's, top of A.
That's also what I think it is.
Tragic Arrogance is fantastic.
I think it is top of A. I think the card is very good, obviously insane, and, it's, comparable to Mythos, but it doesn't have that downside. But it is 1 more mana, which is why I think they are in the same tier.
I always feel like we're the only ones talking about this card. I just feel like nobody is playing this card.
This is a 90 cents.
It's 5 cents. Nobody opened Magic Origins. We had the JVP thing where he was $50,000. What's keeping Tragic Arrogance down? This is there's one other board wipe I think that's better in white, and this is the next best one.
Yeah, I agree completely. So next we have Ugin the Spirit Dragon. I was so used to talk about the other one.
Yeah, the Virgin.
Yeah, the Ugin the Virgin. So Ugin the Spirit Dragon is 8 mana, and he can minus all of his loyalty away.
Which starts at 7.
Starts at 7. So 7 and less colored permanents are gone. This card is strong, but again, it's one of those where you want to make sure it's somewhat one-sided.
Oh, man, do you remember back in the day where like this was one of the go-to board wipes? We played even back then where it's like Ugin this must be nice. They found their Ugin. Like every other deck had an Ugin in it.
Yeah, Ugin is still really good. I mean, there's no doubt that this card is good, but I think it is a C. I don't think this card's busted or broken. I do think it's worse, like distinctively worse than All Is Dust overall.
Okay.
But I think this card is still very strong.
It's nice that you get something after. Like when you wipe the board and you get a Planeswalker, that's not worth a ton because he's just going to lightning bolt something twice and die. But you get something after. They're not going to pressure it most likely next turn.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that All Is Dust should be right next to Ugin in C. I think we might have. I think it was the first one we graded
alphabetically,
and we weren't sure where we would be exactly with everything. But I think it is more in C. But
now that we're looking at its peers here, sorry to everyone who watched the first 5 minutes of the video and then was super happy. We're going to move it down, I think, above Ugin here.
Or below Ugin. It's close. They're close.
Yeah, they're close. I don't really like Ugin as much as I did 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think he's way worse now.
I mean, the real issue is that as a Planeswalker, his other modes kind of stink. His ults are always good. Yeah, we get that. But
his ult, no, you're not hitting it.
His plus stinks. I mean, I don't want a lightning bolt for my plus. I need something more.
Snipe a token or a utility creature? No thanks. But Vanquish the Horde. Okay, here's another S tier. This is the white board wipe I think is the best. And then we got Tragic Arrogance at second. It's just white, destroy all creatures. You only need 6 in play. I don't even, like, one of them's the threat that you really want to destroy. And some of them are probably yours. You just don't have to do anything. It's just white.
This is a 2-mana board wipe, much like Blasphemous Act that we just talked about, which I think they're so hard to compare because they're so close.
Yeah, it's really tough.
It is tough, but I mean, I think Blasphemous Act is slightly better.
I think this one's always going to be 2, whereas Blasphemous Act isn't always going to be 1. But Blasphemous Act, you can have creatures survive, but also you can have opponents' creatures survive. So it's like impossible. I think this order is fine.
Yeah, I think it's completely fair. Vanquish the Horde is it's recent. It's from the last 6 months of Magic, and the card is super strong.
Well, you know the rules. Every set we need a new white board wipe where we went. Vanquish the Horde by invitation only into Farewell, and I'm sure we're going to get more.
What was the set before Innistrad?
Honestly, I couldn't even tell you.
I can't remember either. Was it the core set?
I have no idea. I mean, I'm sure I know, but I couldn't tell you.
Okay, that's completely fair. So what's the last one?
It's like the granddaddy of all board wipes. It's Wrath of God.
It's the gold standard. It's been the gold standard for a long time.
See, I think it's like the silver standard, where it's totally fine, good card, maybe even a great card, but I'm never playing it because of all the better board wipes.
Why I describe it as the gold standard isn't because it is the best. The gold standard, what I meant by that is like this set the standard for board wipes.
This set the bar where like this is what I expect out of a board wipe.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been around literally since Alpha, the beginning of Magic, and it's really strong. But you don't have to go to it too often. I think it's right below your Supreme Verdict, your Damnation. They're all in the same group together.
Yeah, you above or below Supreme Verdict? I want to put it above because I said it was overrated.
They're all 3 just right next to each other. 4 mana, wipe all creatures. That is good. I mean, we just know that is a good effect.
Yeah.
And it's powerful. But in white, you don't have to go to this that often. I mean, there's just a lot of good white board wipes.
So that's a tier list. I think it ended up looking really good. I wasn't sure exactly how this tier list would shake out and how that would look, but I'm happy with what I'm looking at right now.
Actually, I'm a little surprised. It's like we talk about how good white board wipes are, but we did put Wrath of God above a lot of things. But I think what isn't one of the things that might be missed if we didn't iterate it here is that the reason we don't go the Wrath of God is we build for the synergy. So like, though Austere Command overall a weaker card.
Well, now that I'm looking at it, I almost would switch them.
Well, no, see, I don't even disagree. I don't even disagree that Austere Command's a weaker card. But when you build with synergies in mind, it can become a stronger card in the deck. As a generic card and overall, Wrath of God, if you want to start from blank, I would start with Wrath of God in my deck over Austere Command every single time.
I think one problem with Wrath of God is the potential is nothing. There's no potential for it. It's always going to be exactly the same thing every single time. But almost every other board wipe on here has got like the potential of, if I meet this achievement, if I do this, I can't be stopped. That's almost all of them do that.
Yeah, exactly. And like we said, it's all about finding the ones that are right for your list, because even by invitation only, which is down in the C tier, can be better than Wrath of God when your deck is built to take advantage of it. But we have to get big now.
Video's over.
The video is completely over. Special shout outs to all of our patrons. Love you as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. You guys are awesome and you keep this channel going. Thank you.
Thanks. You're the best. TCG player, if you want to buy your own cards and have us get money anyway, but without spending money on us, that's great of you. Go to the link in the description. Buy the cards after you navigate to the checkout. Once you start with the link, that's all it takes. We're basically getting tipped for free.
Yeah, we appreciate it very, very much. Other ways to support us, Dragon Shield, link in the description below. They sell sleeves, play mats. I'm sure they sell other stuff too. They sell awesome Magic the Gathering accessories. Best sleeves in the multiverse.
Good sleeves.
They're
lining that up.
They're literally incredibly awesome sleeves, play mats, high quality, and you will love them. Put them on your deck and support the nerds by using our links.
Yes, and we need a tidbit about our lives, which I just thought of at the beginning of this video, because whenever you see us cut, and then in the next shot, Amber is on the table, it means she has reached the closed door, been upset about it, meowed super loudly until we open the door, and then she comes in, she kind of circles the table like 4 times, and then either we scoop her up on here or she jumps up in the middle and then walks in a circle like 20,000 times until she lays down basically right here every time.
Yeah, I am not opening the door for her right now because it is cute the first 7,000 times.
And it's just like, I don't want to spend an extra 5 minutes.
It's like, it literally has been adding like tens of minutes onto recording in episodes. And it's so much time.
Like if she just comes up and jumps in and lays down, it's like, great. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to stop saying.
Yeah, what you guys see is fine. It's like, oh, boop, boop, she's here. No.
She's very particular.
There's literally 4 steps. She's literally meowing at the door right now.
We love her, though.
We do. We love her. Obviously, we love her.
Let's go pet her.
We're going to pet her. Peace out, Tribe Scouts.